Well everyone, if you haven't seen episode 1, you've missed out on watching us make our way up from Perth into the Pilbara, checking out Hickman's meteorite crater and Kalgans Pool. So go back and check that out if you want. Anyway, welcome to episode 2 as we continue to explore the remote Pilbara on our way up to the Kimberley. Well, currently we're making our way up from Newman towards the town site of Nullagine, which is in the remote sort of east reaches of the Pilbara. Road up there is gravel, pretty good condition, but you do have to watch out for a lot of heavy vehicles due to mining activity in the area. From Nullagine, we worked our way out east towards a spot called Running Waters. The road we're on here is called the Skull Springs Road. On the map, it's a good quality road. In real life, it is shocking. On the Skull Springs Road, we literally saw one other car, which just so happened to be whilst this time lapse was running. As you can see, the road is pretty much becoming a track, and there are just washouts going across the road everywhere. There's absolutely no rhythm. You can't maintain any speed or pace. It's really hard going. You've got to do a lot of concentrating as the driver. So yeah, it was a long afternoon to get out to Running Waters. Whilst the road might not have been very good, the scenery was stunning. I definitely would probably recommend going down the Skull Springs Road, but don't go both ways along it. Just go one way and then come around on the bitumen the other way, which is what we did, and you'll see that soon enough. Well, the best way for you to support the channel, guys, is on every video, give us a thumbs up, and make sure that you're subscribed and you have notifications enabled as well. Well, now we've completed the Skull Springs Road, just turned onto the track into running waters. We left Nullagine at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, 12 o'clock.
And we've just turned off at 4 o'clock. So 4 hours to do 130 Ks. We stopped for about 15 minutes for lunch.
Yeah.
So yeah, very slow going on the Skull Springs Road. There was just constant washouts across the road every couple hundred meters, and you pretty much had to slow down to 10k an hour to go through them. It was pretty tough going. Anyway, I'm looking forward to getting into running waters here. We've only got a little bit to go, and hopefully having a swim, washing the dust off, getting a cold beer, washing the dust down, and relaxing. And I've got to go and get my hands dirty. I've got to try and fix something under the bonnet. I touched on it earlier, and I'll run you through it when I go and do it. We've gotten to running waters, and we've been told it's like warm, so I'm going to send Jess in to test.
It's not fair, my reactions are never good. Oh my, wait. Oh my god, it's a bath. I'm gonna have a bath tonight. Wow, I can't believe how deep it is. Like, it just drops.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if... Look at the size of the fish.
Alright, so as I've alluded, I found a bit of a problem with the car. Now, what's going on is, first thing in the morning when I start the car, it runs for about 5-6 seconds and then stalls or dies. And what I have to do is come around, re-prime the fuel filter, or that primes the fuel pump, and then the car will start and run from there, and it'll run all day, no dramas. Shut it off at lunchtime, start it up again soon after, all good. It's when it sits over night time that it's sucking air somewhere around the fuel filter housing, I reckon, and that is causing the engine then to stall a couple of seconds after it first starts in the morning. So I had a bit of a look around at this morning after I did it for the second time. So I did it the first night at Billion Pool, did it the second night at Kalgans Pool. And obviously before we go real remote and before we past our last chance to get parts, I just want to have a look at what's going on there. So I will show you what we're looking at. So obviously, genuine Toyota fuel filter. It's got 3 screws around the top. There's a seal that seals the filter in there, and I suspect that seal might be pinched or letting air in somehow. Beyond that, I believe it could be one of these hose clamps for either the secondary fuel filter or the spring clamps on the primary fuel filter. And then also I'll give you a close-up on this fuel line here. This fuel line has developed some cracks on it and doesn't look all that great either, so I want to replace that as well. So one of the things that I did specifically for this trip was throw in an extensive assortment of spare parts, and fuel line was one of those ones that I threw in there because it can be used for fuel line, it can be used for a coolant line, it can be used to patch a transmission, automatic transmission fluid line. So I've got 1.5 meters, 2 meters of fuel line there, and so I will replace that little section. I'll pull the filter apart, I'll check all that, put it back together, reassemble it, and I want to do that so that I can test it tomorrow morning, obviously when I go and first start the car. And then we're going to be up in Broome shortly, and if I need to organise spare parts, well, I'll do it whilst I'm there, get those parts before we go and set off into the remote Kimberley, where it's going to be a bit harder to source parts. So yeah, I'll chuck you up on a time lapse or something and we'll rip into it and we'll see what we find. All right, so like I said, got my fuel line, got my socket set. I'll need some bits and pieces from here just to check hose clamps are tight. Got some pliers and side cutters for the spring hose clamps and cutting the fuel hose, and Allen keys for the fuel filter housing. Well, what I'm holding here is the little interconnecting fuel line that goes between the secondary fuel filter or the pre-filter and the primary total filter. And as you can see, quite a few cracks on the outer edge of the band. I don't know if that's causing the air leak, but I just don't like it, so I'm going to replace it whilst I'm here anyway. And then I'll strip into the fuel filter assembly and see what it is. My concern, and I have seen a few people report it online, is that the diaphragm in the actual priming pump can fail and let air in. So if I go through and I inspect everything and I'm happy with everything and it's still doing it, then I will have to suspect that that's possibly the cause, and I'll get a new fuel filter top hat assembly with that priming mechanism and everything in it. So yeah, we'll see. I'm just trying to do the basic fault finding that I can do first before we rip into anything too much more. So yeah. All right, so I have taken the top lid off and I've got down to the fuel filter. So if I look closely around the edge of the seal here, you're going to really struggle to see it on the GoPro, but I'll take a photo with one of my cameras and zoom in. It looks like there's a bit of muck and dirt and stuff on the edge of the seal here, but I can't see anything around the top of the seal. So what I'll do is I'll give it a good clean up and then reassemble it, put it back together, and fingers crossed we have some luck. All right, well, I've just primed up the fuel filter and fuel pump, so we'll give a car start. Might be an air pocket there, so it might die. Seems to be idling without any issues. Well, I won't know until the morning if it's fixed it or not, but we'll give it a go. We'll see. Time to clean up, pack away the tools, and now relax.
Well guys, I am thoroughly surprised. I've done a lot of travel in WA as a kid and now as an adult, and I can safely say I have never seen anything like this in WA. And after the 4-hour trip to get here, I was not expecting this at all. It is absolutely magical. So if you ever get the opportunity, you must come here because it is stunning. Nothing like it that I've seen before, so.
Well, I decided because we had the fire going tonight, it would be a great opportunity to cook on it, especially because it saved us having to set up the cooker and making pots and pans dirty. So dinner tonight was peri peri seasoned chicken, just cooked straight over the coals with a little bit of a flame, and combined it with a bit of salad and coleslaw. Start of the trip, everything's still nice and fresh. Good morning everybody, welcome to, I think it's day 4 of our trip, day 4 or 5 depending if you count our false start and whatnot. But Jess and I have been to plenty of wonderful places, we've been very fortunate, but Running Waters, it's right up there towards the top. So we were talking about it last night, and yeah, it's just something about the feeling here at Running Waters. It really is just awesome. Now, the only thing I would say is it's a big effort to get out here, and you really do deserve to stay a couple days. And I would really be planning to stay a couple days.
Like we were originally planning.
Yeah, and we were planning to stay a couple days originally. Unfortunately, with the having to go back and get tyres, we had to rob a day from somewhere to catch up our schedule, and this was the place we robbed it from, which is a bit of a shame because now that we're here, we sort of want to stay, but we can't. We've got to be in Broome tonight, we've got a booking. So yeah, we're going to leave Running Waters with the promise of coming back again. So until next time. But no, all good. We've again, we've had a relatively early start this morning, quick breakfast, quickly pack up the car. We'll get out of here at about 7 o'clock, get on the road, not too much mucking around on the way. We'll check out Carrawine Gorge on the way through, and then we're going to shortcut, go by the Boreline track and shoot on up to the main road again, and then we've got a couple 100 k's of bitumen into Broome. And then we'll have a look around Broome, Cape Leveque next few days, and then move around to Kununurra. So yeah, lots to look forward to. Anyway, I better give Jess a hand packing up things quick. The last 2 kilometres of track into and out of Running Waters is very twisty and very rocky, and there's quite a lot of this sort of standing water that you see here you've got to cross through. You probably get a camper trailer in and out of Running Waters, but anything bigger than that, I'd say you'd be struggling. from Running Waters, we made our way around to Marble Bar. Now we went out on the Woody Road, which is only a short distance from Running Waters, but to get there you've got to cross the Oakover River, which is what you're looking at now. Now there's 3 sort of arms to the Oakover. The first 2 are quite small, the third one is the bigger one, but fortunately none of them presented any sort of challenge for us. Well, I had no luck with my fixes for the fuel filter yesterday. It looks like air's getting in somewhere else, so perhaps I need to have a look at my secondary fuel filter, which I'll try and look at tonight, and failing that then I'm obviously going to try and get some parts from Broome Toyota. So we're coming up to the turn off at Carrawine Gorge. Given the long day, I think we're just going to give it a miss. It's going to probably add about an hour to the day that we really can't afford, so just going to head for Marble Bar, see if I can make a phone call to Broome Toyota, see if they got parts, and then race for Broome after that. So, is what it is. We'll just have to come back, and I've already made that promise to come back up here, so we'll check it out next time. Well, we've made it to Marble Bar. I've just made a quick phone call to Broome Toyota. They've got a top hat fuel filter assembly, so, and they've only got one, so that's been put aside for me. I'll grab that this afternoon when we get into Broome. I'm also going to grab another fuel filter and another pre-filter if I can get one, and I'll just go over that whole fuel system again, make sure it's all good, and put the new top hat on, and fingers crossed it'll be fixed. But I'll touch on that this afternoon when I'm doing that, or tomorrow when I'm doing that, whatever we do. And yeah, now get back on the road, get a few more Ks under the belt. We're going up the Boreline track, so we're shortcutting. We're not going to go around Port Hedland from Marble Bar. We're going to take the shortcut, and should be good. Well, the rest of the drive into Broome was uneventful. I did get into Broome in time to collect the parts that I was talking about earlier, and I did rip into it at the car park of our accommodation that night, and I did find the problem, which was a missing O-ring on the secondary fuel filter. And then there was nothing wrong with the priming mechanism or anything whatsoever, so now I'm just carrying those parts as spares. Well everyone, we've made it to Broome safely. I've just had a scrub. We've got some accommodation tonight, so we're not camping in the car. Gonna leave you here, gonna go and enjoy a nice meal tonight and a bit of a relax, and we will pick you up tomorrow when we go to leave Broome and head up into Cape Leveque. Anyway, all good. We'll see you tomorrow for the next leg of our adventure. Well, that is a wrap up on episode 2. Make sure you come back and check out episode 3 as we work our way up into Cape Leveque and work our way around towards Kununurra. We'll check out Wolf Creek and the Bungle Bungles on the way too. Heaps of cool content coming up, and I hope you enjoy the series so far. By the way, don't forget, make sure you like the videos by hitting the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment, maybe tell us what your favourite part of each episode is. Anyway, happy safe adventuring, and we'll see you next time.